I violated my own stepsister. That's what the video with 3 million views says. That's what the police read when they cuffed me in front of my neighbors. That's what my stepmom screamed as they dragged me to the patrol car. And worst of all, it's a lie. But who cares about the truth when they've already decided you're a monster? Have you ever felt your life shatter in less than 24 hours while everyone applauds your downfall? My name is Ethan. I'm 17, and 2 months ago, I was in my senior year of high school. I had friends, I had college plans, I had a normal life. Today, I'm here telling you something that's been burning inside me since it happened. Something so messed up, so twisted, that for weeks I couldn't even process it. And I need you to hear every single detail, every second of this nightmare, because I can't carry this weight alone anymore. This story is controversial, it's polarizing, and I know many of you will judge me just by the title of this video, but I swear to you, if you listen to me until the end, if you give me a chance to explain what really happened, you'll understand why I'm here, why I need to tell my side, why everything you think you know about me is a lie built by two people who plan to destroy me. 5 years ago, when I was 12, my mom died. Cancer. It was fast, brutal, devastating. My dad, Robert, was shattered. So was I. It was just the two of us in that huge house that suddenly felt like a mausoleum. Every corner reminded me of her laugh in the kitchen, her scolding when I left my backpack on the floor, the way she messed up my hair when I got good grades. All of that vanished, and my dad and I were left trying to survive in the midst of the emptiness. The first 2 years were horrible. My dad buried himself in work to avoid thinking. I sought refuge in video games and pretending I was fine at school. But neither of us was fine. The house was always silent. We ate dinner, watching TV, because talking was too painful. Every conversation inevitably led back to her, to what was gone, to what would never return. Then, when I was 14, my dad met Brenda. It was at a work event. She was elegant, educated, always smiling, always saying the right things. At first, I don't know. It felt weird seeing my dad with someone who wasn't my mom, but I also saw how he started smiling again, how the house stopped feeling like a tomb. Brenda cooked, organized dinners, put flowers on the table. Little by little, life returned to that house, and I honestly was happy for my dad. I thought he deserved to be happy again. Brenda had a daughter, Ashley. When I met her, she was 13. She was quiet, a little shy, always glued to her phone. We were introduced at a dinner and barely spoke. Hello, nice to meet you. And that was it. The first few weeks were strange. Suddenly, there were 2 more people living in our house. Brenda and Ashley moved in 6 months after my dad started dating her. It was fast, I know, but my dad was in love, and I wasn't going to be the one to take that happiness away from him. At first, Ashley and I had a normal step-sibling relationship. We saw each other at breakfast. Sometimes we watched movies on weekends. She'd ask me about school because she was going to the same high school as me the following year. It was all very civil, very normal. She was the daughter of my dad's new wife. I was the son of her new husband. There was nothing more to it. But something changed when Ashley turned 14. I started noticing weird things, small details that I initially ignored because I thought I was being paranoid. Ashley started seeking my attention more. She'd sit too close to me on the couch when we watched movies. She constantly asked me what I was doing, who I was hanging out with, if I had a girlfriend. She'd touch my arm when she talked to me. She'd laugh too loudly at my jokes that weren't even funny. One night, I was in my room playing online with my friends when she walked in without knocking. She was wearing pajamas that, I don't know how to say it, were too revealing for someone her age. She sat on my bed and started asking me about my day. I was uncomfortable, but I didn't want to be rude. I told her I was busy, that we could talk later. She got mad, slammed the door shut. I thought it was just teenage stuff, mood swings, nothing more. But it continued. The text messages increased. What are you doing? Are you awake? Why aren't you talking to me? Do you not like me? Messages at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m. I ignored them or replied with one-word answers, hoping she'd get the hint. She didn't. One day, I was 15 and she was 14. She waited outside my room when I got back from basketball practice. She was standing there, nervous, fiddling with her hands. She said she needed to talk to me. We went into my room, and what she said chilled me to the bone. Ethan, I think I like you. No, I don't think. I'm sure. I like you a lot. And I know we're step-siblings, but we're not really siblings. We don't share blood. And I feel something very strong for you. Do you feel anything for me? I was speechless. I literally didn't know what to say. She was my stepsister. We lived in the same house. We were 14 and 15 years old. This was crazy. I told her as calmly as I could that no, she was my stepsister, and what she was feeling was confusing because we were living together. But that it wasn't love, that she was very young, and that in time, those feelings would go away. That I saw her as my younger sister, and nothing more. Her face changed from vulnerable and hopeful to cold in a matter of seconds. She looked at me with something I can't quite describe. Resentment, humiliation, rage. I don't know. I just know, she said, "You're going to regret this," and slammed out of my room. I thought she'd get over it, that it was a matter of a few weeks and everything would go back to normal. How naive I was. Things got tense. Ashley stopped talking to me. When we passed each other in the house, she ignored me completely. At family dinners, she acted like I didn't exist. Her mom, Brenda, started noticing something was going on, but Ashley told her everything was fine, just teenage stuff. My dad also asked a couple of times, but I didn't tell him anything. What was I going to say? "Hey Dad, your stepdaughter confessed she likes me, and I rejected her." No, that would only complicate everything. So I stayed quiet and waited for it to pass. But it didn't pass. It got worse. Ashley started doing things to get my attention in increasingly disturbing ways. She uploaded photos to Instagram clearly directed at me. Phrases like, "When someone doesn't appreciate what they have in front of them, you'll regret not choosing me. Some people deserve nothing." My friends tagged me laughing because they knew I lived with her and assumed we were fighting over something silly. If only they knew. One night, I went out with my friends to a party. I got back around 2 a.m., trying not to make noise. When I went up to my room, Ashley was sitting on the stairs, in the dark. I got scared. I asked her what she was doing there. She said, "Waiting for you." I told her to go to sleep. She stood up, came too close, and whispered, "Someday, you'll realize we're meant to be." I pulled away, went up to my room, and locked the door. I couldn't sleep that night. I told my best friend, Tyler. He told me I was dealing with a serious obsession, that I should talk to my dad, but I still didn't want to cause problems. My dad was happy. Brenda seemed like a good person. I didn't want to be the one to destroy that peace he had worked so hard to find after my mom's death. Months passed like this. I avoided being alone with Ashley. If she entered a room, I left. I stopped coming down for dinner often. I preferred to eat in my room. My friends noticed I wasn't inviting them over as much as before. I told them I was busy, that I had a lot of homework. The truth was, I didn't want them to see how awkward everything was. When I was 16 and Ashley was 15, things completely spiraled out of control. She started at my high school. Now I saw her at home and at school. She started following me between classes. She sat nearby in the cafeteria. My friends made jokes. "Your little sister is clingy, huh?" I laughed to pretend, but inside I was desperate. One day, after class, a girl named Jessica asked me out. She was nice, smart. We were in the same literature class. I said yes. We planned for Saturday. That same day, when I got home, Ashley was waiting for me in the living room. She asked me who I had been talking to. I told her it wasn't her business. She said, "If you go out with someone, I'll find out." It sounded like a threat. I ignored her. I went out with Jessica. We went to the movies, had something to eat, walked in the park. It was the first time in months that I felt normal, that I wasn't thinking about the toxic atmosphere in my house. When I got back, Ashley didn't speak to me for 3 days. I thought she had finally gotten over it. How wrong I was. A week later, Jessica stopped answering my calls. Her messages were dry. She canceled on me twice. Finally, I asked her what was going on. She said, "Your sister sent me some really weird messages. She told me you two have something going on, that you're using me to make her jealous. Ethan, I don't want to get involved in family drama. I'm sorry." And she blocked me. I confronted Ashley. She denied everything. She said Jessica was crazy, that she had never sent her anything, but I knew she was lying. I saw that look of satisfaction in her eyes. She had sabotaged the only good thing that was happening to me. I told her I couldn't stand her anymore, that what she was doing was sick, that she needed psychological help. She started crying and yelled that I was a monster, that she just wanted me to love her. Her mom, Brenda, ran upstairs. Ashley told her I had insulted her, that I had yelled at her for no reason. Brenda looked at me with disappointment. My dad did too. I tried to explain, but Ashley cried so convincingly that it seemed like I was the bad guy. That was the first time I saw what a good actress she was. After that, I decided to keep my distance completely. I didn't even say hello. At school, if I saw her coming, I changed direction. At home, I spent all my time locked in my room. My dad asked me several times why I was so distant. I told him it was school problems, stress from grades. He believed me. Several months passed in that constant tension. I was already in my senior year. I just had to hold on a few more months, and I would go to college far away, in another state, if possible. I just had to survive a little longer. Then came my 17th birthday. My dad organized a dinner at home. He invited some aunts and uncles, my grandma, some close family friends. Brenda cooked. Ashley acted like the perfect stepsister all night. She smiled, served food, even gave me a gift, some headphones I had mentioned months ago. Everyone said how sweet she was, how well we got along. I just wanted the night to end. After everyone left, my dad and Brenda stayed cleaning the kitchen. I went up to my room. I was exhausted. I put on my new headphones and fell asleep listening to music. I woke up at 4 a.m. to screams. It was Ashley. She was screaming from her room. I heard footsteps running, Brenda's voice asking what was happening, my dad's voice coming up the stairs. I got up confused. I came out of my room. Ashley's door was open. She was in her bed crying hysterically, her mom hugging her, my dad standing in the doorway not understanding anything. Brenda saw me and yelled, "Stay away from her." I didn't understand anything. My dad asked me what had happened. I told him I didn't know, that I was asleep. Ashley pointed at me and between sobs said the words that would destroy my life forever. He came into my room, covered my mouth, and raped me. The world stopped. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. What had she just said? My dad looked at me with a mixture of horror and confusion. Brenda was yelling at me to stay away, that I was a monster. I could only shake my head, say, "No, no, this isn't happening." Ashley cried so loudly, so convincingly, that even I for a second doubted my own reality. But no, I had been in my room asleep, with the damn headphones on. I hadn't left even once. My dad called the police. Brenda kept hugging Ashley, telling her everything would be fine, that this monster would pay. I was in shock. I couldn't process what was happening. This had to be a nightmare. I had to wake up, but I didn't wake up. The police arrived. 2 officers asked me questions. I was trembling. I told them I hadn't done anything, that I had been asleep all night. They asked me if I could prove it. "How do you prove you were asleep?" "You can't." They took me to the station, took my photos, fingerprints, asked me more questions. I spent the night in a cell. A cell. Me, 17 years old, accused of raping my stepsister. The next day, a lawyer my dad hired arrived. He explained the situation. Ashley had given her statement. They were processing medical evidence. I would be subjected to interrogations. If found guilty, I could face up to 20 years in prison. 20 years for something I didn't do. I was released on bail 2 days later. When I got home, everything had changed. My dad's gaze was different. He no longer saw me as his son. He saw me as a dangerous stranger. Brenda didn't even speak to me. Ashley had temporarily moved in with her grandmother for safety. Social media exploded. I don't know how, but someone leaked the information. Suddenly, there were posts everywhere. Teenager rapes his younger stepsister. A video of Ashley crying in an interview with a social justice page went viral. 3 million views. Thousands of comments. Rot in jail. Death to rapists. Justice for Ashley. My Instagram was bombarded. I had to close it. My Facebook, my Twitter, everything. My friends stopped answering me. Well, except Tyler. He sent me a message. "Bro, I know you didn't do that. We're going to clear your name, I promise." But how? How do you clear your name when everyone has already decided you're guilty? When your own family looks at you with disgust? I stopped going to school. I couldn't. The stares, the whispers, the threats. Someone defaced my locker with the word rapist. I received messages from strangers telling me they hoped I'd get killed in jail. Girls who used to talk to me now cross the street to avoid walking past me. My life, as I knew it, was over. And the worst part is that the person responsible was still there, playing the victim perfectly, destroying me little by little, savoring every second of my torture. But this was just beginning, because what neither Ashley nor Brenda knew was that I wasn't going to give up that easily. If they were going to drag me down, I was going to bring everything to light. I was going to expose every lie, every manipulation, every second of this nightmare. And when I did, the world would finally see who the real victim was here. The next few days were hell. I couldn't leave the house without someone recognizing me and yelling things at me. There goes the rapist. Rotten hell. Trash. A lady even spit in my face at the grocery store. My dad had to get me out of there quickly before something worse happened. At home, the atmosphere was unbearable. My dad barely spoke to me. When he did, it was to ask about the case, about the statements, about the lawyers. Never, "How are you?" or "Do you need anything?" None of that. Brenda didn't even look at me. When I entered a room, she would leave as if my mere presence contaminated her. Ashley returned home a week later. She arrived with her grandmother, acting fragile, scared, traumatized. She went straight to her room and didn't come out all day. My dad and Brenda treated her like she was made of glass. They brought her food, asked her every 5 minutes if she was okay, if she needed anything. And I was there, in the same hallway, invisible, condemned without a trial. The lawyer, a guy named Mr. Evans, summoned me to his office. He explained that the situation was complicated. Ashley had given a detailed statement. She described everything in great detail. The time, how I entered her room, what I said, what I did, all lies, but very well constructed. She had also undergone medical examinations. That's where things got weird. "Ethan," Mr. Evans said, "the forensic exams don't show physical evidence of forced penetration. There are some inconsistencies in her medical statement, but that's not enough to dismiss the case. She can argue that psychological trauma affected her memory or that there was coercion without extreme physical violence." I asked him how we could prove that I hadn't done anything. He looked at me seriously and said something that chilled me to the bone. "Ethan, in these cases, the burden of proof often falls on the accused. You have to prove you weren't there. Are there cameras in the house? Someone who can confirm you were in your room?" Cameras. That word kept bouncing in my head. I told him my dad had installed security cameras at the entrance and in the living room about a year ago after there were burglaries in the neighborhood, but I wasn't sure if they were still working. Mr. Evans said that could be key, that we needed to review those recordings immediately. I got home and asked my dad about the cameras. He looked at me strangely and said that Brenda had disconnected them last week because they were having internet problems, and she thought the cameras were consuming too much bandwidth. How convenient, right? I told him we needed to see the recordings from the night of my birthday. He went to get the system. Brenda came downstairs and asked what we were doing. My dad explained. She got nervous. She started saying that wouldn't prove anything, that the cameras only recorded the entrance and the living room, not the bedrooms. But my dad checked anyway, connected the system, looked for the date, and there was the recording from that night. You could see the guests arriving, dinner, people leaving, then nothing. The house was silent. The entrance camera showed that no one had entered or left. The living room camera showed nothing. Everything was peaceful. Then, at 3:47 a.m., you see Ashley coming down the stairs, walking normally, unhurried, fearless. She goes to the kitchen, pours herself a glass of water, stands there for a few minutes, looking at her phone, then goes back upstairs, and 10 minutes later, the screaming starts. My dad froze. Brenda paled. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. She came down alone, my dad said, more to himself than to us. She came down calmly. She wasn't scared. She wasn't running. I asked him to show that to the lawyer immediately. Brenda tried to stop him. She said the cameras might be wrong, that the time might be off, that it didn't prove anything. But my dad wasn't listening to her anymore. For the first time in weeks, I saw him doubt. I saw a crack in that wall of disappointment he had built against me. Mr. Evans saw the recordings. He told me it was good evidence, but not enough. Ashley could argue that she came down after the attack, in a state of shock, trying to process what had happened. People do strange things after trauma. We needed more. We needed her to contradict herself. Or even better, to confess. It was Tyler who gave me the idea. "Bro, don't they have neighbors? Many houses now have those doorbell cameras, those that record all the time." He was right. Our next-door neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, had installed one a few months ago. I went to his house, knocked on the door. His wife answered. When she saw me, her expression changed. She already knew who I was. She had already seen the news. I explained, as calmly as I could, that I needed to see the recordings from her camera from the night of my birthday. She told me to leave, that she wasn't going to help a rapist. I begged her. I told her I was innocent, that I just needed a chance to prove it. Mr. Jenkins came out. He looked at me steadily. "Ethan, I've known you since you were a kid. Your mom was very kind to me when my wife was sick. I'll check the recordings. If there's anything that can help you, I'll give it to you." But if I find anything that incriminates you, I'll give it directly to the police. I agreed. I had no other choice. 2 days later, Mr. Jenkins called me. He told me to come to his house. When I arrived, he showed me the recording from his camera. It was angled towards the street, but it also captured part of our entrance and the second-floor windows of our house. And there it was. At 3:52 a.m., Ashley's room light turned on. You could see her silhouette moving around the room, calm, unhurried. Then, exactly at 4:03 a.m., the screaming starts. But most importantly, at no point, in no shot, do you see my shadow leave my room towards hers. The windows were next to each other. If I had crossed the hallway, the camera would have captured something, but there's nothing. Mr. Jenkins looked at me and said, "I'm sorry for doubting you, son." He gave me a copy of the recording. I took it to Mr. Evans. He reviewed it, analyzed it, sent it to a video expert to verify that it hadn't been tampered with. Everything came back clean. We had solid evidence, but Mr. Evans warned me. "This helps, Ethan, but it doesn't close the case. Ashley can argue many things. We need more. We need her to contradict herself, or even better, to confess." Confess. How were they going to make her confess something she had built so perfectly? The following days were strange. My dad started asking Ashley questions, uncomfortable questions. "Why did you go down to the kitchen that night? Why didn't you scream immediately? Why did you wait 20 minutes? Ashley cried every time he asked. She said she didn't remember well, that she was in shock, that she didn't understand why he was interrogating her as if she were the culprit. Brenda jumped to her defense, yelling at my dad to stop traumatizing her daughter, but my dad wasn't so sure anymore. I saw it in his eyes, the doubt, the crack. One night, I overheard my parents arguing in their bedroom. The door was ajar. Brenda was yelling at him, asking how he dared to doubt her daughter, that Ashley was the victim, that I was a manipulator. My dad replied that the cameras didn't lie, that something didn't add up, that he knew his son and that I wasn't capable of doing that. Brenda told him something that chilled me to the bone. "If you don't support Ashley, I'm leaving this house and taking her with me, and I'll make sure everyone knows you protected a rapist over an innocent victim." Silence. Then my dad's voice broke. "I can't believe you're making me choose like this." "You don't have to choose," Brenda replied. "You just have to do the right thing." I couldn't sleep that night. It was clear. Brenda was protecting Ashley no matter what. And Ashley knew exactly what she was doing. The next day, I did something risky. I waited for Brenda to leave the house. My dad was at work. Ashley was in her room. I went upstairs. I knocked on her door. "What do you want?" she said from inside. "I need to talk to you." "I have nothing to talk to you about, Ethan. Please, just 5 minutes." Silence. Then I heard footsteps. She opened the door, looked at me with those eyes that once looked at me with adoration and now looked at me with cold contempt. "You have 3 minutes." I entered her room. She closed the door. I stood near the exit. I didn't want her to think I was cornering her. "Why did you do this?" I asked her directly. She laughed, a humorless laugh. "Do what?" "Report that you raped me." "You know I didn't. The cameras prove it. The neighbors prove it. There's no physical evidence. This is going to fall apart and you're going to look like a liar." Her expression changed. There were no more tears, no more fragility, just coldness. "Do you think I care? I already did what I wanted. Your life is destroyed, Ethan. Everyone hates you. Your friends abandoned you. Your future is screwed. Even if you walk free, you'll always be the guy who raped his stepsister. That label will never leave you." I was speechless. This wasn't the shy girl I knew. This was another person. And all because I didn't want to be with you. She moved closer. She looked at me with an intensity that scared me. "I warned you. I told you you'd regret it. But you didn't listen to me. You treated me like I was a silly kid. You ignored me. You despised me. And for what? To go out with that stupid Jessica. To make fun of me. I never made fun of you, Ashley. I just told you the truth. We can't be together. We're step-siblings. That's not right." She laughed again. "I don't care what's right. I cared that you loved me, and since you didn't, now you pay the consequences." I asked her if her mom knew all this. If Brenda was in on the plan. Ashley smiled. "My mom would do anything for me. Anything, including keeping everything your dad has. You know your dad is rich, right? The properties, the businesses, your mom's inheritance, which is still in his name. If you go to jail, he'll be devastated, and my mom will be there to comfort him, to manipulate him, to change his will." Everything will be ours. Everything clicked. This wasn't just revenge for rejection, it was a plan, a damned plan, to destroy me and take everything. You're not going to get away with this, I told her. I already have, she replied. Now get out of my room before I scream and say you tried to attack me again. I left. She closed the door, but what Ashley didn't know was that I had entered with my cell phone recording in my pocket. I recorded every word, every confession, every detail of her plan. I had her. Finally, I had her. That night, I listened to the recording again and again. It was perfect. Her voice clear, her confession complete, her admission that it had all been a lie. This was enough to clear my name, to send her to jail for false accusation, to expose Brenda as an accomplice. I called Mr. Evans, sent him the audio, he listened to it, and told me it was sufficient evidence, that with this we could go to the police, press charges against Ashley and Brenda, that the case against me would be closed immediately. But then he asked me a question. What do you want to do with this, Ethan? Do you want to go the legal route, or do you want justice in another way? I didn't understand what he meant. He explained, the legal route can take months, years. Even with this confession, the system is slow, and in the meantime, your reputation is still destroyed. People still think you're guilty. Social media isn't going to erase 3 million views of that video. Your name will still be synonymous with rapist for thousands of people. So, what do you suggest? I asked. Is there another way, less legal, more immediate? I hung up. I didn't want to hear more. I didn't want to become what Ashley had said I was, a monster. But that night, lying in my bed, staring at the ceiling, I thought about everything. About how she had destroyed my life without remorse, about how her mom had planned to steal everything from my dad, about how I had been humiliated, defamed, almost sent to prison for 20 years. And I thought, why should I wait for a slow, bureaucratic system to deliver justice? Why should I trust that people would change their minds about me? Ashley had played dirty. She had used social media, public opinion, lies. She had used every tool to destroy me. Maybe it was time for me to do the same. I opened my laptop, uploaded the audio of Ashley's confession, edited it to be clear, without noise, perfectly audible. Then I did something I knew there was no turning back from. I went to all the social justice pages that had shared Ashley's video. I looked for the most popular comments. I found Facebook, Twitter, TikTok groups where people had been calling for my head, and uploaded the audio with a simple message. Here's the truth. I uploaded it everywhere, in every group, on every page. With a title, Ashley confessed she lied. Here's the proof. I also made a document with the security camera footage, with the neighbors recording, with the medical results that showed inconsistencies, with screenshots of the obsessive messages Ashley had sent me months ago, and that I had saved just in case. I uploaded everything, put the dates, the times, the facts, everything meticulously documented, and then I did the worst thing, what I knew I shouldn't do, but I didn't care anymore. I found all of Ashley's social media accounts, her Instagram, her TikTok, her Twitter, and in the comments of each of her posts, I put the link to the audio, to the evidence. That wasn't all. I looked up the school she went to. I found the students' Facebook group, the WhatsApp groups where parents coordinated activities and shared everything. There, I looked up her grandmother's address where she had been staying. I shared it not directly, but I left it in places where people would find it. I did what she had done to me. I exposed her completely, unfiltered. The last thing I did was create a video with my face, speaking to the camera, telling my version of events, showing the evidence, playing parts of the confession audio, and at the end, looking directly into the camera, saying, Ashley tried to destroy me because I told her no. She and her mother planned to take away my freedom, my future, and steal everything from my dad. They almost succeeded, but here's the truth. And now let the world decide who the real victim is. I uploaded the video to YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere, and pressed publish. At first, nothing. The video got a few views, some comments, nothing extraordinary. But in 3 hours, it exploded. People started sharing it. The same people who had attacked me were now sharing my video. I can't believe she lied to us. This is horrible. That girl is a psychopath. In 6 hours, the video had 100,000 views. In 12 hours, 500,000. The next day, 3 million. The same number as Ashley's video. But it didn't stop there. People started looking for Ashley. They found her social media, started bombarding her with comments, "Liar. You deserve jail. How dare you destroy someone's life like that?" They found her school. Students started recording her in the hallways, making fun of her. Videos of Ashley crying in the bathroom went viral. Memes, hashtags, "Justice for Ethan," trending on Twitter. Someone found her grandmother's address. People started driving by, yelling things at her. Reporters knocking on the doorbell. Her grandmother had to call the police. Brenda started receiving threats. Her Facebook was hacked, her personal photos exposed, thousands of hate messages. And Ashley couldn't handle it. She stopped going to school, closed all her social media. But it was too late. The videos, the memes, the comments kept circulating. Her name, her face, everything was everywhere. A week later, I learned that Brenda and Ashley had moved to another state. They changed their names on social media. They tried to disappear. My dad finally saw all the evidence. He listened to the complete audio, watched the videos. He cried, hugged me, apologized for doubting me, told me he had been a blind fool, that Brenda had manipulated him, that he too had been a victim. He filed for divorce immediately. The legal case against me was closed. The police investigated Ashley and Brenda for false reporting, conspiracy, and attempted fraud. They face up to 5 years in prison each. My life slowly began to rebuild. I went back to school. People apologized to me. My friends came back. Jessica wrote to me. She apologized for not believing me. I told her not to worry, that no one could blame her for protecting herself. Tyler never left me. He was the only one who was always there. I owe him everything. But here's the part that eats at me, the part I know many will judge. What I did to Ashley was brutal. Exposing her address, allowing thousands of strangers to harass her, letting the internet do what it does, destroy mercilessly. She's in therapy now. I heard through others that she tried to commit suicide twice, that she can't leave her house without being recognized, that her life is ruined in a way that she may never recover from. And I don't feel remorse. Should I? Probably, but I don't feel it. She tried to put me in prison for 20 years, destroyed my reputation, my future, almost destroyed my dad, and she did it without batting an eye. She did it with a smile, with pleasure. So why should I feel bad for hitting back? Legal justice is slow, imperfect, and often comes late or never comes at all. I wasn't going to wait for a judge to decide my fate while my life rotted away. I did what I had to do. I used the same weapons she used against me: social media, public opinion, mass exposure. Did I go too far by sharing her address? Maybe I should have let the police handle everything. Maybe. But if I went back, would I do it again? Yes, without hesitation, because in the end, the question isn't whether I was right or wrong. The question is, what would you do if someone tried to destroy your life for a simple rejection? Would you patiently wait for the system to deliver justice, or would you take control? I chose to take control, and I don't regret anything. I know many of you will comment that I went too far, that Ashley is a child who needed psychological help, not a digital witch hunt. And maybe you're right, but she didn't see me as someone who needed help when she put handcuffs on me. She didn't think about therapy when she invented that I raped her. She thought about revenge, about destruction, and I just gave her the same. Now, before you finish this video, I want to ask you something. If you've made it this far, if you've heard my complete story, please like this video. I know it sounds strange to ask after everything I've told you, but I need this story to be shared. I need people to understand that false accusations destroy lives, that not everything you see on social media is true, that before judging and condemning someone, you should hear both sides. To like, you just have to press the thumb up button below the video. It's simple, but it helps a lot for more people to see this. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Every day we upload real stories from teenagers like me, stories that will leave you speechless, that will make you reflect. To subscribe, just press the subscribe button below the video. It's free, and you support us a lot. And now, the most important thing, the comments. I want to know what you think. Was I right to expose Ashley as I did, or did I go too far? Has any of you experienced something similar? Have you been falsely accused of something? Have you had to deal with someone obsessed with you? Comment. Tell me. Because in the end, this community is a space where we support each other, where we share our stories without fear of being judged, where we know we are not alone. And if you have a story you want us to tell, leave it in the comments. We read them all, and maybe your story will be the next one on this channel. I know this video was long, probably the longest I've ever made, but I couldn't tell this story halfway. I couldn't leave loose ends. I needed to vent to someone who would understand me. And you, all of you who made it this far, showed me that there are people willing to listen. So thank you. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for not judging me before knowing my truth. My life will never be the same. I know that. There will always be people who doubt, who think he must have done something for her to accuse him. There will always be that shadow, but at least now the truth is there for whoever wants to see it. And I can sleep peacefully, knowing that I did everything possible to defend myself, not to let myself be trampled, not to be a silent victim. Ashley wanted me to give up, to accept my fate, to sink without a fight. But I'm not like that. And if I learned anything from all of this, it's that you never, ever let someone else write your story. No matter how powerful they seem, no matter how convincing their lies, the truth always, always finds a way to come out. And when it does, make sure everyone sees it. See you in the next video. And remember, you are never alone. There's always someone willing to listen. See you later.